Welcome to Everything But the Kitchen Dink, the podcast where we discuss all things pickleball with your hosts, Rob and Andy.
So a lot of the times is like, my philosophy is you need to be in control of your game and you need to understand what you're doing right, what you're doing wrong, and how to fix what you're doing wrong. And my job is to empower you and give you those tools so you can troubleshoot on the fly.
Okay. So when you were recently at the English Open, which I read this week is the third largest pickleball tournament after the US Nationals and
US Open.
US Open, yeah, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah,
actually.
it's impressive.
But what were your thoughts? Did you get a chance to observe the English game and how the Americans interacted and how the English interacted with the Americans? Had it changed from 12 months previous?
It had. It's changed a lot. And I think the first change that I saw was when we did the Atlantic Cup in Miami, which was our next gen team against Team Europe.
Yeah.
Okay.
And our team had seen most of the Europeans 6 months prior to Miami in the UK last year.
Okay.
Right? And it was no big deal. Right? It was bang, bang, bang. They all pretty much won. Come the Miami, I think they thought, well, we've seen them play. And I'm like, what you don't understand is you guys have been playing for X amount of years. You know, in Europe, they haven't been playing as long, which means that their acceleration and their getting better is going to be faster. Right? So those leaps and the initial leaps and jumps you make in pickleball are big.
Yeah.
And then once you start to taper off, now they become very incremental.
Yes.
Right.
Oh, interesting.
So the US players are in the incremental stages of getting better, whereas Europe was still in the leaps and bounds stages.
Okay.
Right. So we got caught with our pants down, and I mean, I've said this to the team. I said, you know what, we were thankful that Maria cramped because we went 2-0 down in singles, and we were a game and halfway down in the second, in the women's doubles, and Maria started cramping.
Right.
And we told them to hit the ball to Maria because she was the injured duck on the court, right? So they did that, and we pulled that out. And then the men won their so we were 2-1 down. So we won the doubles, and the men lost both their singles.
Right.
So we were 4 down against Europe.
Wow.
So had we lost the women's doubles, Europe would have swept 5-0.
Wow.
But we went into mixed doubles. So we were 4-1 down. We won our men's doubles 4-2. And then we went into mixed doubles day with 3 mixed doubles. We went down 4-2, and we had to win all 3. And the last mixed doubles came down to the third game. It was right there. And it was like, now can you understand what we've been telling you, that these leaps and bounds are closing the gap? And then, fast forward, the US Open this year, Thaddeus and Pei had some really good results and some really good wins.
Yes.
And James and Louis had some good wins. And, at the English Open, it's like, okay, now there's no such thing now as an easy game. We've got to now take it seriously, which I like because it shows that the gap is closing and that there is talent outside of the US, which is fantastic for the growth of the sport. And I think it's just gonna be better and better. I've always said I can't wait for the rest of the world to catch up.
How far are we behind, you think, in the UK? I mean, that's amazing that we are closing that gap. But do you think we're still many years behind, or only a short period away?
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say it's not really a limb. It all depends on how many facilities get built. Because if you have dedicated indoor facilities, dedicated courts, you can grow the sport and you can advance players.
Yes.
But if we're sharing allocations, if we're doing, if we different things or we don't know or whether, then it's prohibitive to growth. Because if I set up a group Wednesdays at the park, right, at 5 p.m., and I get there at 4 with all my nets and everything, I set everything up, and I can get this big group going, and maybe I build the groups of 30, 40, 50 people. Great. But then there's one Wednesday that I get stuck on the M5 in a traffic jam or something, right?
Yeah.
So I don't go there. The following Wednesday, less people will show up. because I wasn't there. So then
Yeah.
they thought, oh, it's not happening anymore. Right. So if the courts are there, organic growth happens.
And that's where we're struggling at the moment here. Now, obviously, there's a facility opening in London, but the North is struggling to get something going.
Do you have any insight into the development and the growth in England? And do you have any insight into why? I mean, I can figure London, obviously, it's the biggest city, but we feel very ignored in the North. And there is a huge amount of people playing, amount of clubs and large clubs in the North, but nobody's interested. And it's very frustrating.
I don't know if it's that people aren't interested. I think we're struggling finding the facility.
Well, maybe the people who are the deciding factors don't realise how much potential there is in the North. I don't know. Do you have any insight into that?
Yeah, I mean, whatever happens is I definitely want to be involved. Because I love to grow pickleball, right? And I think what's happening is, so we're at that point here now in the States where if someone's like, oh, what do you do? I'm like, oh, I play pickleball. Oh, I love pickleball. Now that conversation's normal, right? 3 years ago, well, what do you do? I play pickleball. What's that?
What's that?
No, it was like, oh, I've heard of it.
Right.
5 years ago, it was like, what's that?
Yeah.
And I think in the North, you still have a population that like, I don't know what pickleball is. I don't see the fuss. I don't see the attraction. I don't understand it. Right? You haven't gotten to that critical mass point of there's so many people who are playing it, know someone who's playing it, want to play it themselves, want to learn, right? And I think when you get to that point, then yes. But I would love for you to let's see if we could figure out how we can get a facility going, because it's a no-brainer for me. It's something I know how to monetize. It's something I know how to do, and it's easy. We just need the money and the building, right? Yeah. And we know there's a building there. So we just need the money. We just need the money, right? So
yeah, we just need the money. We need an investor.
Give us your money.
Yeah.
And there are people out there.
Yeah. Well,
and we just have to find the right one. And I think for pickleball right now is you either have to find somebody from the US with UK ties, who understands it, or someone who's playing pickleball right now, who has more money than sense, and wants to leave a legacy behind.
Yeah. At the moment in especially in Manchester, I know in London as well, the buzzword here at the moment is paddle. Now, there's a facility opening up, an indoor 6-court facility in Manchester next week. And when you mentioned before about have you heard of pickleball, but if you say have you heard of paddle, everybody seems to have heard of paddle. Do you think that's taking over slightly here, or
do you think that will hurt our growth?
Will it hurt the growth of pickleball? Yeah,
I don't think it'll hurt the growth of pickleball. I think right now it's beating pickleball to market. But there's so many barriers to me. Like if you asked me, if you said money's not an issue, right?
Yeah.
And we've got this space in Manchester, Lee, what would you build? I would build a paddle and pickleball complex.
A joint one.
Oh yeah. Because it's the same community. It's the same sort of friendliness. It's the same. It's not your. And I was one of them. Your hoity-toity tennis player.
Yeah.
Who cares about noise? Who cares about everything? Right. It's your everyday, Joe. It's the person who wants to play after work. It's much more community based. And paddle and pickle have a lot in common in that regard. So I would capitalize on both of those, because I think, as much as tennis and pickleball can coexist, I don't think they will, because of the white collarness of a tennis versus pickleball, which is for everybody. But pickleball and paddle will coexist very, very well, because noise is not an issue, right? So that's what I would do. But right now, there's so much. I think there's more barriers to the growth of paddle, or maybe not the growth of paddle, but I think there's definitely a cross section of the population that will play paddle. But there's a much bigger cross section that will play pickleball. Age, demographic, ability, you name it. It's less threatening. It's less dangerous, Like
Well,
paddle
I
is
think-
pretty dangerous if you're mobile, if you're not as mobile and
Also, it's a lot cheaper to
reflexes.
set up a pickleball centre than a paddle centre. You
Well,
know?
I wonder if maybe what goes against pickleball. A lot more people are saying, "Oh, I've heard of it," but still, the majority of people and the majority of young people think pickleball here is for old people still.
Right.
And that-
Yeah, and I mean that changed about 3 years ago here.
Right. And I think one other
And-
issue is maybe the fact that because pickleball is so accessible and you can play it you don't need a purpose-built pickleball court to play it, whereas paddle, you need a purpose-built court. Maybe that's why it's accelerated with the facilities, because otherwise you can't play it, whereas pickleball you can. And maybe the versatility of pickleball initially is going against us.
I think the versatility is going against, but I think it's also the fact that paddle has been around for a lot longer than
That's it,
pickleball.
right.
I mean, paddle's been huge in Southern Europe and South
Yeah.
America forever. So they're light years ahead of us in development, and it's
Okay, well, that's good to know.
it's like, to me, I would love to figure out who's building paddle there and say, hey, can we?
Well, I know who is,
Yeah.
and I've tried to get hold of him, but I haven't had much luck. But I'm actually going to the opening of the paddle centre next week, so I'm hoping to try and, well, if I can,
You're going undercover.
I'm going undercover to to try and have a word.
And the other thing too is like, look, I was home in Gibraltar right before the English Open, right? And I'm pushing to get pickleball set up in Gibraltar, and space is an issue.
Yeah.
But we've got one tennis court and we're putting 4 pickleball courts on there, so it's starting, right?
Yeah.
So we formed an association. We're part of the European Pickleball Federation, all of the above, and we started to have a committee meeting last night, and now we're moving the needle. But the one way to get in, and this might be a good way to get in in Manchester, is, yes, I know that we want it to be from 4 years upwards, but go into it with seniors in mind. This is great for their cognitive abilities, their motor skills. The fall risk is minimum. And all of this. So you go into this is going to be great for this demographic, and then you build out from there.
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting.
That's because they may not understand what pickleball is, but you're presenting something appealing for a demographic that needs something.
Yeah.
And there's typically funding behind that, or there is people who will back certain things that way, and then you can open it up to everything else, because I know that's how we approached it in Gibraltar.
Right.
Okay, well, that's your homework.
Yeah. So last time we spoke, you were doing something completely different. So tell us what you're doing now and where you are in your pickleball career.
Oh, I'm a young buck now. I'm a veteran.
Okay.
Right. So did I read that you're the #1 senior female pro? I mean, I'm not surprised.
There's 3 more words that you left out.
Currently.
In the,
Go
in
on.
the,
In the world.
In the world.
I mean, there's not many of us, but hey, I'll take it.
So go on, tell us all about that and your rise to #1.
Well, it was one of those things. Last year, the last 2 years, it's been no secret. I really struggled. From, getting partners to, age being a factor, and something new and shiny coming in, right? The younger players being picked over me, whether, rightly or wrongly, whether they were better than me or not, right? It was more of an age thing. And yeah, last year was rough. And the only thing that was pushing me forward was I have 2 phenomenal partners for senior pro.
Okay.
Right.
And just get through the year. Just use it to stay in shape, do what you can, do the best you can, stay relevant. You're the fan favorite, you've got a great following, you've built your brand.
Yeah.
And now don't ruin your brand, don't do something stupid. But then transition starting in January. And thankfully it's the year you're 50. So I will play every single tournament this year, age 49, because this is the only time I'm thankful that I have a December birthday. So
Same
thanks,
as
Mum
me.
and Dad.
That was exactly the same.
So how does it work? I mean, it's called the tour, but how many events are there? How
Too many.
wide does it go?
Too many events.
So is it what, one a week, one a month?
No, like I mean, I'm getting ready to leave next week, so I've got 3 tournaments in October. It's part like under the I play more APP than PPA.
Right.
Okay.
Senior events because the prize money is better. And I've got really good partners that'll play APP with me. So, you know, I like the fact that I like our chances going into every tournament, right? But there's alongside every APP pro event, there's a senior pro event.
Right. I see. So you were talking about the struggles you had, but I did also read that you were the MVP of the MLP for 2 years running.
Yeah, and you think that would have
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm thinking. So
yeah, and it didn't, and it sucked. I got written off quickly.
How did that tell us? Like, what was it like playing for 2 years in the MLP? You must have. I'm assuming you enjoyed it so much because you
loved it. I was doing well. I mean, I was top 10 on APP. I'd pretty much wins over everyone, and yeah. And then things went south.
Was it just more and more people were coming in, and it was everybody's mates were getting pits, and
it became yeah, and it was it definitely wasn't based on results,
right?
Because I mean, like to me, if I'm drafting a team, I'm gonna draft the team based on how you've done at previous MLP events, based on rally scoring and different things, not based on this last tournament that you played, right? And if you looked at my track record was pretty damn good.
Yeah.
But you know, for whatever reason, they were looking at something else, and that's okay. It was a hard pill to swallow because I went from, you know, being up here to, you know, a very ungraceful fall from the top. That I didn't realize somebody kicked that pedestal out from under me because it wasn't my doing, right? I think that was the harder pill to understand.
Yeah, if you'd have played poorly, you could understand it.
Correct.
But to be the MVP, yeah, it's staggering.
Yeah, that was a really hard pill, and like that was a lot of soul searching and really, you know, pulling myself up by my bootstraps, and like I mean, it was. I mean, the beginning of last year it was 6 months of hell. I didn't know which way was up or down. It was like if you'd have told me that I wasn't going to get drafted, I'd have been like, okay, I don't believe you, you know. And then I didn't get drafted, and I was like, oh shit, you know, what just happened? So you know, it is what it is now.
I've been in a very similar position here as well.
Except you weren't the MVP.
No, I was.
But you're my MVP.
Oh, thanks. You said you've got a competition coming up quite soon. Just walk us through your sort of training regime for that. What sort of thing? I mean, I want Andy to hear this because he's the best at getting ready for a competition.
Oh yeah.
You know, with his eating Chinese and you know and
yeah.
I mean, I had Chinese. I had a few beers and some Chinese takeout last night.
Yeah, we struggle on the way to a tournament. Do we have Burger King or do we have KFC?
Yeah.
You know, I would probably go with KFC.
Yeah.
Because there's more protein.
Well, the brands are available.
That's where we went wrong.
Carbs. But it also depends on what's on the left hand side of the road, right? I'm like, or the right, like on the right hand side. Like I like here in the States, I refuse, like because you know where we drive on the right. So if you're like, hey, can you stop at the store on the way home? And I'm like, if it's on the right hand side, you bet I will. But if it's on I'm not crossing the street.
I agree.
That's my thing. I won't do it.
Yeah.
It's another hour to your journey.
Yeah.
Yes.
So go on, talk us through your build up to a tournament. What do you do?
Well, this one's going to be a bit different because I went and did a stupid thing.
Okay.
And started a poll online as to whether or not I should play singles.
Ooh.
Do you know what? I think I saw that, and I think I said
you commented on it, and you said no. So you were one of the 5 that said no.
Yeah, and the only reason being is the singles before the doubles or is it after?
Oh no, singles is on Friday and doubles is Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah, well, so no is still my answer.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with you.
Because if you get
And,
injured, you're letting
Yeah, but it
everybody down.
depends. You're used to. I assume you're used to playing singles, and
No one's used to playing.
sorry, that was do you know
Where-
the last time I played singles in MLP for 4 points only in Dream Breakers, right?
Right. Okay.
Yeah, I think last time I played singles was early 2000 in tennis. But
Okay.
you can't pay me to play singles, and apparently I'm doing it of my own volition. I'm not well in the head, obviously.
So are you playing singles?
I've been training.
Okay.
Because here's the thing, I'm confident in my ability in doubles, right? I'm very comfortable, love my partner, we have a plan, right? If we lose, it's because we didn't execute our plan.
Okay.
Right? In singles, I'm not going into singles thinking I'm gonna win. I just don't want to embarrass myself.
Yeah.
And I want to get beaten. I don't want to lose, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't want to make stupid mistakes. I don't want to make, tactical errors that are really dumb because I'm like, oh, cross court. And I'm like, oh, my partner's not there. I'm not covering that side of the court, instead of coming in down the line or whatever. So I'm trying to rework those patterns in my head and have been sort of going through those.
It must help with fitness, though. Playing singles obviously helps.
And also a tennis background.
Yeah. So
I played mainly doubles in tennis, so that also goes out the window.
Okay.
There's nothing about this physical person that says she's ready to. If I walk into anything, no one's gonna go, yeah, she's a singles player. No way.
Yeah.
They'd be like, no, that's a muppet who doesn't know what she's doing.
So have you been on the treadmill? You say you've been training for it. Have you been on the treadmill? Is a lot of it about fitness? Because you've got
a lot of it is fitness, and I try to do. I'm super lazy, in the sense that, or not. Maybe I just like effective shortcuts. I'm going to do my cardio on the court. Right. Whether my drills, whether they're up and back, side to side, whatever it is, I'm going to do them on the court. I don't want to have to drill and then get on the treadmill. Like, that to me is boring. Yeah. And if you see me running in a straight line, that someone's chasing me, right? And then I'll do my weights. That's obviously, I won't do those on court, but I try to do as much as possible in the arena where I'm going to be.
Okay. Right.
And then if I need to do extra cardio, I'll get on a bike. I have a love-hate relationship with my Peloton, and it all depends on the music that they're playing, whether I lost for the ride or not. But that's no impact, and it's not going to hurt my knees, and I can still push my cardio, right?
And what about food? Is that quite important, or
are you sort of 6 raw eggs in the morning, kind of, like Rocky?
Yeah, I do 6 raw eggs. Kale is. A lot of quinoa, tofu, loads of tofu. Honestly, I'm like the worst person to actually talk about being a professional athlete when I think about it.
But that's good, because that gives us all a bit of hope.
Yeah, it's relatable.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, my philosophy is win or lose, we're going to drink beer, right? And it's it's my friend's 60th tonight. We're going out. Am I going to drink orange juice? No.
No.
But I'm also not going to eat 3 pizzas. I'm aware of what goes in my body, and leading up to a tournament, I try to be better behaved. But at the end of the day,
drinks? Do you have any energy drinks or shots or things like that? Or?
Some of these cocktails.
I'd have some shots, but they're not the shots that I mean, look, I'm drinking a friggin' Diet Coke, so that's healthy, right? But I mean, I'll do my electrolytes. I use my Kinyan, right? The red light therapy.
You've got some of those to try.
I'm going to start using that.
That thing lives on my body.
Right. Really? Okay.
It's.
I'm using it tonight.
Yeah. So I use it consistently. I love the Kinyan, and I truly believe in red light therapy. And then I also got sent magnesium sort of bath soaks.
Okay.
So, tonight, throw that in the bath and soak in there for 15 minutes. And magnesium's a superpower for the body.
Yeah. But who can be bothered running a bath now?
Sorry?
Who can be bothered running a bath? I don't think I've had a bath since I was 5.
I know, but now I'm going to do it because it's really good for, I
Good
can
for
sit
all
in a
your
bath.
joints. It is actually very good for you having a bath.
I can sit in a bath for 15 minutes with magnesium salts and have a beer in my hand.
Exactly.
Right.
You can have a beer on the Peloton. It must be a cup holder.
It really annoys me when people put a water bottle in there. I'm like, what are you doing? It's so rude. It's not a water bottle. My God, where my Pringles go? Like, what are you doing putting water there? Like, what's wrong with you?
Brilliant.
I'm tasting my snack.
Yeah.
No, but a lot of it is for me more than nutrition is what I do on the other end of it, right? On the recovery side for my body. And yes, I'm going to pay attention. But look, I'm not your person that's going to go, I need to have 3 ounces of boiled chicken for lunch.
Yes.
No, that's, we only live once, right? And I'm going to enjoy life. And it's like, if to me competing at this level means I have to have boiled chicken, kale, quinoa, I'm not going to do it. Yeah. What you see is what you get.
But you're number 1 in the world, so you must be doing something right.
Yeah, I got in at the right time when there's not 8 million people playing at senior level.
I'm sure
the standard is very high.
Yeah. So I'm going to own it for a while.
Damn right.
But just going back to, you mentioned the APP and the PPA. There's a lot going on there. Well, the APP is sort of separate, but I've often wondered, is the APP sort of seen as inferior to the PPA, or are they running alongside, or is it just the APP is a bit more friendly to amateurs? And then there's the whole power struggle with USA Pickleball. I mean, is this all bad for the sport?
I mean, I think it is. I think it's all terrible.
Is the APP totally separate from it, or are they going to get dragged in, or are they interested in getting dragged in?
I mean, I think they're sort of a side seat driver in this, right?
Right.
They're in the car. I mean, there might not be an active.
They seen as the good guy.
Yeah, and it's so bad right now, and it's like I look at it going, look, if I were building pickleball in any country, I would look at the US and go, what are they doing great and what are they doing terrible? And look at what we're doing badly. We're giving you the blueprint for success, right? Yeah. And is there a model where I think everybody wins? 100%. Is anyone interested in hearing that model? No, they're not.
Are they just power hungry and everybody wants to take control?
Everybody wants that piece of the pie. And it's like, there's too many people in this world that are playing pickleball. Like, we don't need to be that power hungry. But I think that early on, people's toes got stepped on and things, and feelings got hurt, and now it's this pull push, and the APP has sort of stayed clean from it. Is it looked at like it's the inferior tour only because PPA grabbed a lot of players and put them under contract?
Right.
And offered them ridiculous amounts of money to go play. And it's just sad the way, like, I think that the money that's come into pro pickleball right now, it's too soon for where we are in the game.
Right.
We're still going through teething pains. We don't have a governing body. We can't agree on the rules. We're changing it constantly. It's so much.
Do you think, just talking about the rules very briefly, do you think the serve rule is going to become a drop serve? Do you think that's going to be the only serve in pickleball soon?
I don't know. Honestly, here's the thing. It's the bigger issue is paddle technology.
Yes.
Because the exit velocity of that ball is coming off the paddle way faster than a professional athlete's reflex. So if that is the case in the pro level, what's it going to do in the rec space? Yeah. And not only that, when pickleball was built, when they started building dedicated court, they were all 30 feet by 60 feet, right? Because of 20 by 44 court.
Yeah.
But the ball now, there's so many dedicated courts in this country right now that are too small for the paddles that are playing on the court.
Because you have to stand further back because of the power hit with the paddles.
Exactly. Yeah. So, I mean, the drop serve in a limited space, yes, you've got to control the serve, but at the end of the day, it's an underhand serve.
Okay.
I mean,
it is.
Where do you see all this going? And do you think these problems are just going to mean that it's never going to become an Olympic sport? Because obviously being an Olympic sport would really put it on the map worldwide.
Yeah, I think the ultimate goal is to be an Olympic sport, right? But we don't have a governing body here yet. And if we are the birth of pickleball, we've got to get it right? And then we've got to have there needs to be, every country needs to have its own federation and governing body. Then we have to have an international one, right? Then we also have to adhere to WADA's drug testing and standards. There's no drug testing in pickleball right now. We have to adhere to a ball. We have to adhere to the rules. We have to adhere to so many things. And I think what happened is, like, it's a sport that started in death, right? And we've slowly lowered that age. And once the Pro Tour took off, everything stopped there. And I think where we missed it was we needed to keep building downwards for college, for high school, middle school, right? If you got it in as a collegiate sport here, I mean, sports are huge in the US, right? If you get it in as a scholarship sport here, your middle school and high school programs take care of itself, right? And then you go down into your elementary schools, you go down to your Pee Wee programs, and now you've built it all the way down to birth, and now we can build back up again.
But is it not in schools?
No. It's in some, not all schools, right? And it's so I think we missed it here, and then the focus became it needs to be in the Olympics, because the more people that played here, it's like, oh, it should be an Olympic sport. But you know what? We're a long ways off.
Yeah.
And there's, a lot of people are like, why did flag football get in? Well, LA is, we get to choose what do they call it? An exhibition sport to see if it can get in. And they chose flag football, right? And what everyone's up in arms. They're like, it should be pickleball, it should be this. And it's like, listen, at 49, well, when is it, 2028? At 54, I should not be representing the UK for pickleball. Like, that's not a good look.
Yeah.
Right? We should have younger athletes doing it.
Yeah,
and I know somebody who works for the Olympic Committee, and they're saying the only reason flag football got in, or one of the reasons flag football was in, is they're trying to trend to a younger demographic. The Olympics needs to trend younger, which is why breakdancing got in, which is why these things are getting in, because they trend younger. And we need to fix that sort of growth all the way down and make pickleball trend very young, so that people are watching it, so that people are engaging with it, right? So then we can actually be an Olympic sport. And I think, will it be there? Absolutely. When?
We're not sure.
Could be 20 years, then.
Yeah.
It could be, and we might just be, sitting around going, could have been us.
Could have been us,
yeah. No, we're coaching on the sidelines.
Just going back to the paddle technology and the paddles. What are you using at the moment? And do you find that you've changed paddles to get more power? Are you using a power paddle, or are you a more control player?
I didn't hear you. No, I'm kidding. I'm just refusing to answer.
Well, I know you're not a control player.
No, I'm using a 14mm paddle, which has a lot more pop.
Yeah.
I feel like I've got the touch and I can control it. I just need a little bit more pop on the ball.
Yeah.
But I don't want to, I'm not playing with the power paddle. I'm playing with the Legacy Pro right now, but I'm not playing with the super powerful paddle. It's a powerful paddle, but it's not like the Yola Gen 3.
Or like a gearbox the
gearbox, right?
Yeah.
It's not a funny sounding paddle. Like you hear the proper thwack, right?
Yeah.
Versus, the other ones, the ball comes off, whether you're hitting a dink or a drive, it comes off exactly the same. You hear it the same. You're like, that sounds,
Yeah.
It messes with your hearing, especially if you like to hear the ball.
Yeah.
And you're basing your reactions on the hearing, right? It's not.
They do sound very different. They sound, especially like the Mod TA, the Yola ones, and they just brought out the 3Ss now, haven't they? Which actually aren't USPA approved, are they? They're
no. Listen, I was at a club the other day, and this lady was playing with a Diadem Vice.
That's still going.
The holes in it.
Yes, I had one of those.
Yeah.
There's no friggin'. I'm like.
You can't play. I mean, what's the point?
I don't care that you're 93 and you need help, but you're gonna hurt somebody.
Yeah.
That was so you do see them, and people and there's an element of people. Look, if you get 35-year-old Joe coming onto the court, right? And he's a 3-5.
Yeah. And
he's playing with one of these power paddles, let's say, and he comes from tennis, and he's just new into his pickleball career.
Yeah.
So he's not going to be 3-5 for long. He's going to move up.
Yeah.
But he's got tennis strokes, and he comes into a round robin, and let's say he comes to a men's night and he's playing, you know, and 72-year-old Fred's there, and he tees off on the ball, and
it's dangerous.
now you're hurting somebody.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't think pickleball, the sport, was never meant for you to come out on the court head to toe in safety gear to go play.
No, it was the opposite.
Yes.
Interestingly enough, when we were there, Andy actually spotted that not many people were wearing protective goggles. You see it more here, I think. I don't know if it's different where you are or you've seen it more, but we didn't see many of them.
A lot more of the pro players are wearing goggles now.
Are they?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting.
But
I'm not like, to me, I don't, if you're going to speed up the ball at me, I'm going to trust my hands.
Yeah.
What's going to happen is off a net cord, right?
Yeah.
When it clips the net, that's when it's going to go into my eye, or it's going to go off the edge of my pad, my partner's
Yeah.
That's what's happened to me off the edge of the paddle.
Yeah. Like those are the two that I worry about. Not, I mean, this way, if my hands are up, I should be able to block.
Yeah.
But now if it clips, now it's it's a knee jerk, and then I don't know where my head is in relation to the ball.
It's a worry. That's why I started wearing the glasses, because obviously I've got to protect this beautiful face.
100%.
It's all I've got left.
Yeah.
No, you've got to protect. You've got to protect your money maker.
Yeah.
But so now your most recent focus, really, apart from your senior tour, is the next gen coach. So the next gen players for the APP. Can you tell us a bit about that role, and also what exactly are the next gen? Because some of the next gen players have been next gen for quite a while.
So the next gen program is from 17 to 22.
Okay.
So that's why, and if they're on the national team, they can be on the national team for 2 years, and then we have to recycle them.
Right.
So next year, I think we're just keeping 3 players, and everybody else will be new. But it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun playing with helping the youngsters, being a mentor, having been there, done that, and helping shape, how they're looking.
Great idea.
I love it. It's a little tough. I will say, coaching the youngsters now is a little challenging, because this is the first time I think that we're coaching a generation of players that's never had to really work hard for anything.
Right. Okay.
They've earned their spot on every team. There's no sort of, you're in first division, you're in second division, and here's a pathway to get to first division, right? Everyone's always made the team. So the grit, the competitiveness, it's a bit hard to dig out of them. And the ones that have that, I gravitate to them more, because I can push them. I can, sort of get real in the sandbox and have these honest conversations, and not be afraid of somebody crying because I hurt their feelings. So I think that for me is a bit of a struggle, is like changing my coaching dynamic to bring out the best in them, where I'm used to, I would love people to know what it's like to be a bench warmer, and to have to work your way off the bench onto the court, not be a starting 5, and putting in that work, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's going to be the challenge that we're facing right now with these kids, is getting that grit out of them and going, I don't like it when someone comes off the court and goes, oh, well, I'm like, no. You should be upset that you lost.
Yeah.
Because you didn't do this,
Yeah.
I get very.
We're upset when we lose meaningless games.
Yeah.
So how do you, that to me is probably the hardest thing right now.
Right. And how do you recruit these players?
So Ken from the APP, he does the recruiting, and then, he does the recruiting, but then he also is like, he'll run it by Chad and I, and we'll chat about the players, and be like, what do you think of this person? And a lot of it honestly comes down to attitude. Yeah, at tournaments, we're seeing them at tournaments, and we have the next gen tournaments where it's purely for the youngsters. So we get to see them. There's one coming up in November, and we get to see this new wave of talent. And it's never about, for me, it's never about the kid that wins.
Right.
It's about, how are they acting?
Yeah, so
how are they conducting themselves on the court? Are they great teammates? Can I get them? Are they figuring stuff out? And are they open to being coached?
Yeah.
There's a lot of factors that have to fall into place for it to be a kid that I'm like, yeah, I really want to work with this kid.
But they're all around the country, I assume. So how does that work with your coaching? Do you have to travel to them, or do you have camps?
We have I think 4 or 5 camps a year where they all come in.
Right.
And
Okay.
then we work with them, and then like I work with a few individually in Florida that are on the team that come up to me, and we work together. Chad has a few in Nashville. So between us both, they come in and out and train with us in between tournaments as well.
So with you having your court there, do you still do like private coaching and stuff like that?
I try really hard not to, but I do.
Okay.
Can you say?
No, I'm kidding. I do. But I'm really picky. It's like this getting old thing is not good. I've become very, very picky and selective.
Is it expensive there, coaching? Because we've heard it's sort of $100 an hour
or more.
Right. Okay.
Interestingly, I've been looking to get a place to put one court in, just so we can go and maybe rent it out to people, practice, drill. And I'm even struggling to find somewhere cost-wise here is crazy, even for that size. What sort of cost implications are there over there? Is it a lot cheaper to get a unit over there than it is in the UK?
I don't know. Like, what would a 5,000 square foot building be there?
Oh, for 5,000, you're probably looking at £60,000 a year.
Yeah. That's about it's about dollar-wise here. Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
So how do you fit all this in? Is it a constant like juggling act, just trying to get everything done and focus on playing, or is your playing suffering a bit, or are you worried it's going to suffer a bit? You're just so busy.
I don't sleep much.
Right.
Join the club.
No, I'm the one, but like I'm the person that my day is programmed out. I'm very, very high functioning.
Right.
But if I have nothing to do, then I'll do nothing that day. I'm like, I'll get to it later. I'm the person who's like, I'll get to it later and later.
Yeah.
Right. So like, I mean, I just founded a company with a friend of mine called Game Changer Events, right? Which is purely women teaching women.
Right.
So we're doing, whether it's networking, camps, festivals, you name it, that is what we're doing. I also have another company, Absolutely Pickled, with a friend of mine, where we do a podcast, and we also do different clinics and events, but that's for pretty much everybody. So yeah, I'm always constantly, I consult for clubs, and I'm always doing stuff, and it keeps me very much on task, because when I train, right. And I have my training time. Like this weekend, I don't have much scheduled. I'm going to train at some point, but if I don't train first thing in the morning, I will not train that day. I guarantee you.
Okay. So I also saw Lee Whitwell's pickleball school.
Yeah.
So what's that?
That was online, and so I do that online, but I did it. A lot of it's more like remote coaching.
Okay.
But it's also here at the warehouse, right? But a lot of it is like, look, I can tell within 5 minutes if I can help you or not help you.
Okay.
And I only like to get on. I mean, I really only like to get on court with people that I can help.
Yeah.
Like I'm at the point in my life where, I've done the whole, on the tennis side of things too, where people would come take lessons just because they wanted their weekly lessons, so they could say they could take a lesson. Like that, I can't make you better, right? I was never making those people better. I really want to gravitate to people that I can be like, okay, you're a 3-5, you want to get to 4-0 or 4-5, this is the path we can do this.
Yes.
And I'm going to help you, and I can help you because
okay.
I can see your game.
Sounds good. I'm on my way.
Yeah, you need to help us.
Come on over.
I am on my way.
I believe you've signed with an agency as well.
Have I?
You have an agent now.
Do I?
Apparently,
Yeah.
the internet says you've signed a contract with an agency.
No, I have not.
Oh, that's interesting.
Don't trust the internet, people.
But it was on the internet. It must be true.
Do I dare ask what agency?
It says unrivaled.
Oh yeah, that was the last year one.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, that goes into last year of let's not talk about it.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
I don't have an agent. I probably should, but I don't.
just
So
to,
if you guys would love to represent me, you can.
yes.
Well, you need a personal assistant at least.
I need a personal assistant, and I need an agent to go get me deals. So pick either one. It pays the same.
We'll trade off. Get us a facility in Manchester, and then and then we're yours, basically.
Is that all it is?
Yeah.
Yeah. Forever.
Done. I actually do have somebody who I'm feeling them out to see. That sounded terrible, actually. I am actually looking. There's a couple of people that I've got on my radar that I'm like, okay, that are pickables on their radar, and they have money and they want to expand into the UK. And I mean, would you be open to?
Yes.
Okay. No, I do have two people. I actually know two people, one in Canada and one here in the States, that are very interested in the UK. So
we're a sleeping giant here.
Yeah. No, I know. And I mean, I want to be first to market there, selfishly.
Okay. Let's get on it. Before we go, have you got any sort of top tips for people that want to sort of improve their game in pickleball, or anything that can help?
The go-to tips to help.
You don't miss. It's great.
Don't hit the net.
I've never thought of that.
Over the net between the lines one more time than your opponent every single time. No, honestly, the biggest thing is that we forget to train our eyes, right? And we forget to see contact points on our side, and like see your contact point, see your opponent's contact point. Really focus on that. Exhale as you're hitting the ball. And understanding that you have a lot more time than you really think you do on the court. Like we tend to rush, like whether we're taking stuff on a half volley, you think, like, we have time. Hit the dink on the way down. You're going to control that arc a lot better. But a lot of it is just training your eyes, as well as understanding if the ball is coming from cross court, why am I facing straight on? I should probably be a little bit angled from where the ball's coming from, right? The ball's coming down the line, I'll angle in front of the ball. And we forget to do that, and the paddle as well, tracking the paddle. So, I mean, there's a lot of very effective. I mean, we could definitely would love to do an effective shortcuts, combo with you is what we do focus on the court, and and break it down for people, because there's very simple fixes that have a big reward.
Fantastic.
And when are you back in England?
I don't know. It all depends on you guys.
Okay.
I'm going home for Christmas, and I'll be in Gibraltar for Christmas, but I'm doing an overnight on the way back, but that's just in London, a quick overnight.
Are you there in January?
Sorry?
Are you back in the villages in January?
I am.
Okay. I'm just going to say it's been a pleasure to have you on. And thank you for all your insights, and carry on the good work, because obviously you're a great ambassador for pickleball in the US and the UK. So just carry on the good work, and thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks for having me on. As always, love the two of you. And when you come over in January, we'll do a live from the warehouse, and then we'll do an effective shortcut clinic that we can figure out how to slice the dice.
That sounds amazing. Yeah.
And definitely. Maybe we'll make you a 4-5.
Yes. See you soon.
That'll be your biggest coaching challenge.
It's the miracle of Christmas.
Well, I am born on Christmas Day, so there you go.
I'm the 22nd, so we're
okay.
Spirit, so
so we got a similar birthday.
If there was ever a time for a miracle, why not this Christmas?
Exactly.
Brilliant.
Take care.
Thank you.
Take care. We'll speak soon. Thanks. Bye.